Okay, welcome to presentation number 1, take 2. So what I'm going to do today is just very quickly go over getting TypeScript set up and showing a little bit about what's the difference between TypeScript and regular JavaScript. So first a bit about corporateJS. The statement that I have for us is identify and resolve obstacles to the application of JavaScript for mission-critical applications in enterprise settings. So that's sort of the mandate that I see the group having, but we can flesh that out as we go along. So for today, the prerequisites are Visual Studio Code. VS Code is written by Microsoft. TypeScript is written by Microsoft. So they work together very, very well. So it's highly recommended that we go with that. I'm going to use Node.js to run the demo for today, just because building out content for a web browser adds a lot of complexity, whereas this allows us to demonstrate very simple code. So yes, I am recording this. In fact, what happens after is, after the YouTube stream is shut down, then it converts it over. It takes a while. It takes about half an hour, and it converts it into a file that we can save for later. So Node.js is the second thing. TypeScript, of course, is the third thing. I'll show how to install that. A little bit of knowledge of JavaScript is useful. So the purpose of this group is not to learn JavaScript or even to learn TypeScript, but to set up the best practices for enterprise stuff. So what I will do over the course of this is provide links to various other resources that will help you to learn things. But for today, understanding what TypeScript is would obviously be dependent on knowing a little bit about what JavaScript is. And the GitHub account, so at the end of all this, I will take the code that we've developed and I will put it up on GitHub. So for today, what I'm going to do first now is create a folder in Visual Studio Code. So in fact, I've already done that. Call it TS Demo. So we're going to close. So right now there's nothing here at all. So if I open up a console and I do a dir, there's nothing here at all. So the first thing I'm going to do is do a node init and create a project in here, or sorry, npm init. And I'm just going to take the defaults because I'm not really worried about. Okay, so that gives us a few things, including a package.json. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install TypeScript. So npm install TypeScript. Quite often what you're going to want to do is install this globally, but you can also install it locally, and the benefit of that is that you get a specific version that your application expects, and if another application wants a different version of TypeScript, you can actually tie them together. Okay, so now we have TypeScript and we have JavaScript, and we have a project set up. So now what I'm going to do is create a very simple file. Say console.log hello. Okay, standard application. I'm going to save it as a JavaScript file. So or a TypeScript file. So that's the first thing you notice. The extension is different. So that's how all the tools know that this is a TypeScript file, is by putting TS instead of JS on there. So now what I'm going to do is go back to my console and try and run that. So if I do a node, of course it's going to say I have no idea what that is, because Node wants to run JavaScript files, not TypeScript files. So first thing I'm going to do is now compile this. TSC is the TypeScript compiler. And I'm going to add the name of the file, TypeScript hello. I could put .ts on there, but it's not necessary. Now if I do a dir, see that I have two files. hello.ts, which is the one that I created, and hello.js. Just for fun, let's look at the difference between the two. So, in fact, they look exactly the same, except that a semicolon has been added, which isn't even really necessary in JavaScript. But now, since we have a JavaScript file, we can actually run that. So it's running hello world. Okay, so that's great. Now, this so far is not adding anything, it's just JavaScript in a TypeScript file. So what I'm going to do now is create a function, say my name, have that take a parameter, my name, and I'll console.log that out. And then I'll call this function from here, say my name George, just for fun. Okay, I'm going to save that. Now once again we have a problem, because if I do node hello, it's just going to run the old file, so I have to run it again. And I'll show you in a second how we can get around doing this. tsc hello again. Okay. I'm seeing comments, but I'm not hearing. I don't know what the comments are about. Anyway, so now we can do node hello. And it says George, which is fine. And if we look over here, we can see it's, again, the function is exactly the same. Function say my name, console.log. So the first thing to know about TypeScript is that really it's just JavaScript with a little bit of extra stuff added to it. So in fact, if you just write JavaScript and call it a TypeScript file and compile it, it'll just bring it over as is. Okay. So now, here's where we finally get the difference between TypeScript and JavaScript. So what I'm going to do now is say my name 99, which is a number, and obviously that doesn't really make any sense. But if I run that, and just compile it, tsc, okay, and then I say node hello, it says 99, it doesn't care. So what TypeScript allows us to do is go here and say this is a string. And as soon as you do that, you notice that right here we got this little red squiggly. This means that this is no longer a valid file. Because it's now a TypeScript file, and you said that it's a string that's required here, it understands that a 99 is not a string and that this is an error. So, in fact, I think we'll get an error if we even try and build this. So we got an error, and the error is that the type number is not assignable to the parameter type string. So that means we can't even build this application until we fix the error, which is, again, one of the reasons why, as a company, you would want this. So if I change it now to Fred, okay, I've changed that to Fred now, and now I'm going to do tsc hello, and now I'm going to do node hello, and we get Fred. So what TypeScript brought to the table is it allowed us to add a little bit of extra code to this function that said it's not a valid function it's not a valid call of the function unless you pass it a string. So when it was 99, then we got an error. When we changed it over to a string, then it was valid. In fact, the value goes even a little bit further. So if I go down here and say my name, it actually tells us that it's expecting a string there right now. So even as I'm writing the code in the first place, I can tell that I need to put some kind of string in there. Okay, I think I'm going to shut it down there because it sounds like you guys have had all sorts of problems. So why don't we call it a day on this one, and we'll schedule another one for sometime very soon and follow up with this.